Sahana bhavatu, sahano bhunattu, saha viryankaravavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti. What is the relevance of this topic first? Why we need to discuss about birth and death? What is the need for you to have this knowledge? That's the first question. Then we move to the other aspects of what all the issues we have on this. So the investigation with reference to birth and death reveals one thing to us. The study of this exposes what is happening in our life constantly. What is this going on? In this, you understand you have been taking birth again and again and again, and in every birth you have been doing the same thing, right? Hoping that every time when you take birth there is a great hope, every death ends with the lands in utter disappointment. You start with hope, put in effort, disappointment. Again you start with hope, put in effort, same condition. No result. You put in effort, no result. Put in effort, no result. Put in effort, no result. When you recognize that, when you understand this, you get a sense of objectivity to what you are doing right now. Somewhere down the line, this thought will creep in. In the past, how many times I have done the same thing? The result being the same. Now I am having a tremendous belief, as though this is the most important aspect of my entire life. This is what Buddha asked his father. How many fathers I have seen in the past? How many sons you have seen in the past? Where are they now? So many fathers I have seen. So many mothers I have seen. So many sons I have seen. So many wives I have seen. So many husbands I have seen. So many pets I have seen. Every time when I am having that particular, I was totally convinced this is the whole thing. Exactly same way, now I am convinced completely. This recognition will come to you. This is the purpose of the whole study here. Why we have to study about birth and death? Why do you have to know about all that? What is happening birth, what is before birth, what is after death, is there life after death, or there is no life after death? What difference is going to make to you right now? In what way that is going to help you, man? He says, the same thing I have been doing, and I am going to continue to do the same thing in future also. Right now, I am sitting in a particular house, claiming this is all my energy, all my thing is going to be. Right now, I am born in India. Therefore, I say I will do all that I can do to promote India. Last Janma, where were you? Last Janma, I was in England, British, colonizing the whole country, and I am the one who had looted all the money from here and taken them. In this Janma, I am here. In that Janma, I am there. Now, what are you doing? You see, I'm just giving an example. Don't, immediately start, how can you say in English, politics? Now, you don't start here. Just giving an example to make you understand. For the welfare of my country, I am working. This Janma. Next Janma, I will be fighting against the same country. Now, in this Janma, I am promoting my child. Next Janma, I will be born as a competitor for my own child. And I will swear by that, and I will swear by this. And every time when I am there, I say, this is it. There's nothing else. There's nothing beyond it. We say, in the past you have done, result is 0. In the present you are doing it, result is 0. In the future, you are continuing to do the same, result is going to be the same. Right? Would you like to continue? Same result. At that time, I say there. This time I say here. Now, if I see my whole, the involvement that I have with reference to my current samsara, current occupation, drops. See, this is the main idea. This is the main result. It's not that you're aspiring to get it. This knowledge will automatically lead you to that. Now, that doesn't mean immediately you say all of us will become Buddha. If you understand, you will become Buddha. There's no doubt about it. But you can't do the reverse and say, okay, let me become Buddha so that I will get the understanding. That will not happen. The converse will not happen. Reverse, it will not work. Get this understanding first, he says. Now, why there is this discussion and why we refrain from the discussion of birth and death? Okay, at least we are willing to discuss about birth. And what we don't understand is, we don't want death. I don't want my near and dear one to die. Okay. Imagine in your house, your father is there, grandfather is there, great-grandfather is there, his father is there, his father is there. Now, all those people need to be vaccinated. What you will do? That's what they are saying. Now the government is in deep trouble. Why? Because when they created this policy of government employees will get pension, average expectancy of life is what? Now, the person is drawing pension more than the year of service. He has worked only for 25 years. But he's been driving, taking, pension for the last 30 years. We had one person. Recently, he passed away. 2 weeks back. He must have been about 97 or 98, something like that. 58, he got retired. And he has been drawing salary. Salary in the sense, pension. Pension is more than the salary. And the government has to pay salary to those who are working now, also to those who have worked in the past. When they said for government employees, we will give pension, they thought you people will not be there so long. Thanks to our science and technology and, thanks to our, medical science, the person's life expectancy is growing. We don't want people to die. But what we don't understand is life itself is not possible without death. That's what he explained first. He said it is two sides, man. Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. It is constantly happening. If it is not happening, life itself becomes impossible. But we don't want to discuss with reference to death. And we have the tremendous fear, a sort of a discomfort to discuss. Bordering fear. Fear not in the sense that, you have to go to this, crematorium in the midnight, this one and all I'm saying. I'm not talking about the fear of ghost and all that I'm saying. Just the fact of death itself. There are great psychiatrists, the founding fathers of psychiatry, had this fear of seeing a dead body. They are the founding fathers of psychology. But they had that fear. What is there to fear? What is it? You see the sight of it, you are getting convulsions. You see, I'm saying not fear in the sense, I don't want to look in that direction. Not in that sense. I'm saying it is deep-rootedly inside the person. Why there is so much of fear? There are many reasons to it. First, fundamental reason is this. Basic one is the fear is caused by your attachment. You're losing, you see, the loss of it. And attachment means what? Attachment in this context, you need to understand. What is the meaning of attachment here? Attachment means that inability to accept change is called attachment. There is a sudden change. There is a loss. And that loss also happens suddenly. Imagine if you have been waiting for a person to pass away, then you will feel relieved. Appa. Even though you may not say that to people, but internally you will feel what? A sense of relief you get, because the presence of the person has caused so much of agitation to you. See, if at all you see some places where they say, it is good that, he passed away. That means the presence of that person had been of a tremendous pressure to me, agitation to me, isn't it? But imagine a presence of a person were to be of pleasure to me. What is the stand I will take? The essential fear is because of me losing something. I'm losing something. That is the real problem. Don't say fear of death is we don't know what is going to happen. Therefore, we are scared. If that is the case, I will say marriage also, you don't know what is going to happen. You got married, no? Huh? Now you will say, correct, sir. I shouldn't have. All this married work. Then divorce and walk out, no. I tell them, no. That also they will not do. Okay, if you can't divorce, take sannyas, no, at least. That also you will not do. I'm not asking you to divorce or I'm not asking you to take sannyas, please. Okay. For both, don't come to me. Right. But something not knowing by itself is not going to be triggering fear in you. Remember that. If unknown is going to be, first time you go to Himalayas, did you know what it is? First time you take a flight, do you know what it is? But you get so excited, isn't it? There's a tremendous excitement in a person who says, I'm going to fly. I'm taking a flight. Of course, when the runway, when the takeoff happens, you see them, how they hold the seat. Right? But still, what is it? There's a thrill about it, isn't it? Before. I'm saying, if you are so scared, why did you book the flight ticket itself? You shouldn't have booked. Anything unknown is not going to be. Remember, then what is that is causing fear in this case? Death is also unknown to you. If you say unknown is triggering fear, then everything unknown should trigger fear in you. And if you look into your life, 2022, January 1st, everybody sending message. Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Right? It is new, right? We don't know what it is. But it was 2020 also we didn't know what it was. 2020, January 1st. All you people should go back and see that videos. What is the video? What is the message you sent? Happy and prosperous, peaceful, healthy, wealthy life. And everything is gone. Stock market crashed. This one is lost. That is gone. No cash flow. Business is in trouble. Health-wise, no issues. And suddenly all of us have to learn to live in a new way to move around. It's new, right? But everything new, that which you don't know by itself is not. Then when it becomes a problem, only when you are not willing to accept the new, the change. Is living a very happy bachelor life. Right? It took me around 25 years for me to 27 years for me to train my parents. How to live with me. It took me 27 years for me to train them to live with me. Now we are going fantastic. Why suddenly bring in a new person inside? Confuse the whole thing. But we say, no, sir. It is so interesting, so exciting. And you got married and you are living a fantastic life, whatever the life is. Why suddenly get a child? New, no. Unknown, isn't it? What sort of a child you are going to get? You don't know that. It's a bigger risk. At least marriage, there is a possibility of knowing something. Child is a absolute risk. It is a gamble only. What sort of a child you are going to get is a gamble. Unknown. But you are so excited, isn't it? Why? You accepted it. You accepted that it is a blind shot. I don't know what sort of a child I'm going to get, but still I am willing to go through it. The moment you accept it, it gets excitement. You get excited about it. Everyone comes and gives, even the news that my wife is conceived itself is a tremendous news. I share that news with the suite. And I don't know what I'm asking for, what I'm signing for. This is the problem. Attachment means my inability to accept and agree to the change. If I can agree to the change, then this problem will not be there. This is the core issue. The ancillary one happens along with that. To top it up, parallelly, there is the change also happens suddenly. See, you are getting old. Everybody knows that. But that doesn't happen overnight, isn't it? It is so gradual. Suddenly you don't. Of course, when you take your photograph of 10 years back and today, when you see, you can see you can say, yeah, there is a difference. You see a lot of wrinkles now started appearing. That you can see only, when you take that picture of 10 years back and today. But every day when you stand in front of a mirror to brush, to shave, you never see any change. You feel it's the same thing. It happens with such slow, steady, gradual, whatever you call it. Slow may not be the right one, but we wish to slow down. But change does happen. But when it comes to death, it is a sudden change. That sudden change we are not willing to reconcile with. Till yesterday, this person had been transacting with me 2 minutes before, 5 minutes before, right? Interacting with me. And suddenly you see that person is not responding, reacting to anything. It's gone completely. That sudden shift, we find it difficult to digest. Therefore, anything suddenly that is happening, we get a jerk, isn't it? Right? Suddenly you hear a noise. You get a jerk, isn't it? It is natural for us to feel like that. The sudden change is the cause of it. Number two. Should be enough, I suppose. I don't want to go on adding. Why fear and all that. But understand, essentially, there is a sense of discomfort to discuss about death. The freeness with which we are able to discuss about birth is not the same when it comes to death. And if at all we discuss about death, we are discussing about the death experience. Now remember, we are not discussing the experience of death. We are discussing what is the meaning of the concept of death. What is death first? Experiencing is a different thing that we can see later. First understand this. There he says it is natural. Says the whole thing is just a progression. Just a progression of events, which the whole life is moving. It's just a movement, it's just a change. What is necessitating the change? Why there is a change? What is the driving force of the change? All that he is going to explain. But one thing for sure, I don't want change. Is clear for all of us. Particularly, we don't want any painful things. A sudden change, where to be happening in a positive sense, we will not have any issue. Right. Imagine suddenly someone comes and says, sir, you have been, you got a lottery ticket. We'll not have any issue. We'll say, yeah, good, I'm happy with that change. But here, the change is not some gain, it is a loss. See, the change that we are discussing in terms of death is the loss. Another aspect here is we are not discussing about the death of another person. Here the discussion is the death of myself. Here the subject discussion is not that. See, that capacity to accept it, digest it, and live with it defines the whole thing. And the problem is, we say change and all those things, but then we have our own areas where we don't want change to happen. Isn't it? You say, yeah, sir, world means change. No, things will change, sir. There's no problem. Then why are you contesting next election? And say, let me continue to be the chief minister. Let me continue to be the prime minister. Why do we want the government to continue? You say, no, sir. In business, that's very important. If the government is not stable, imagine government keeps on changing. Every 5 years, government keeps changing, let's say. The policies will keep changing. Since the changing is happening, there will be a tremendous instability. There will not be any sort of consistency in those things, which is not good, which is not healthy for attracting foreign investments. Foreign investors will not come. So it is not good for business, it is not good for the economy. Therefore, there has to be this policies should not change. The government can change, sir, but the policy should not change. Each one of us have our own areas where you resist change. Right? That is what he is discussing here. In birth and death, that is what happens. What is that which you are resisting is the continuation of it. I want the status quo to continue. Suddenly, Lord Yama comes and pulls a carpet under your feet, topples the whole plan of yours. What happens then? That we find difficult to accept. So therefore, there is a resistance to the idea of death. Experience or meeting with death, of whose death we are discussing about our death. Remember this. So in the whole death discussion, birth and death discussion, we are discussing about whose birth. Discussing about your birth, we're discussing about your death. That's where it look little pessimistic also. The whole discussion might feel like, we are discussing something negative. Remember, we are not discussing anything negative. It is a very important discussion for us to derive the truth out of it. The whole discussion, don't forget, we started this entire portion with this discussion on use and abuse of religion. The death is not discussed from the angle of medical. Remember this. They are discussing death from the angle of philosophy. We are discussing it from the angle of spiritual. We are discussing from the angle of religion. And we have already established one thing. The very abuse of religion, what is the proper use of religion? What is the wrong approach to it? What is the right approach to it? Keep that in the backdrop and then study. These 2 points you should remember. Number one, we are discussing about our birth, our death. Number one. Of course, in the course of explanation, I cannot be saying your death. We will be quoting a third party only. Right? Because both of us cannot be having a dialogue straight away. Not because of Zoom or anything. Even if you are physically present also, there is no way. We have to refer only the third party. So examples will be given, the cases will be taken and studied about the third party, but the whole application, the whole knowledge is relevant to you. Right? Don't take it as somebody else's. We are discussing about this. Then why we have to study this, sir? First point said. Remember that study will make you objective. You will get that, the sense of distancing yourself from whatever engagement you are having right now, from your involvement. Tremendous involvement with reference to this. And then when we are discussing here your birth, again we have to define what is the meaning of the word you. So here you have to add birth and death within brackets, mine. What is the meaning for the word mine? My refers to what? That's why you need some basic terminologies to be familiar with. Here we are discussing birth and death of the jiva. Remember, the jiva is different. Ishwaran is different. The jiva, the individual, is taken this birth as Ishwaran. Like the actor who is taking up a particular character in a particular play. So there, when you look into the drama, you are looking at who now? There are two people there. One is the character, another one is the actor. The character is villain, but the actor is a great humanitarian. See, he's such a charitable person because he is putting up that entire drama, which is his premier drama. He is doing it free of charge for a particular cause. He's doing that for that cause. Such a charitable action he's doing. He is putting up all all his money he's spending, he is coming and putting up this drama, his show is going on. But what is his character there? Destroying the entire village. He is playing the role of a Nero, playing, fiddle when the entire Rome is burning. And in fact, they say he's the one who burnt it. Just one day he got the idea, it seems. How will it look like? What to do? Burn the whole thing, says. That's what that scene is. The character he's playing is different, but the actor is different. But the tragedy of life is we are so dumb, so dumb, so dumb. You can't distinguish those things. Things are too different. There are people who we had earlier, a chief minister, MGR. Lot of women, old ladies, would go to him and say, be careful. Take care of yourself. And he would say, okay, I'll take care. Yes, yes. But you may be. But this fellow Nambiar is there. No. Beware of that fellow. Nambiar is an actor name. MGR is also an actor. In all his movies, okay, if not all his movies, most of his movies, Nambiar is the actor who played villain role. MGR will always play a hero role. And what is the job of a villain? Right. And in real life, it actually happened to him. When they go for outdoor shooting and all, there is no caravan those days. So they have to change, and all that means they have to go into somebody's house to get changed. Costume change and all that they have to do. They have to go to somebody's, in the village. They'll go to somebody's house, they will give, because they're actors, it's a great pride for them. He has come to our house and all those things. So they will go in, change and go back. This Nambiar would not be getting house. Nobody would allow him to enter the house. Poor man, he has to, they'll, tie dhoti, 4 corners, and he will go inside and change and come out. Open. They will not, they won't, they refuse to give him water to drink. He's thirsty. He says, can you get some water? They say, no. Why? You're a villain. So gullible people are, so naive, so ignorant. In a way, the innocence looks nice also, but that innocence is not coming out of wisdom or anything. Ignorance. Therefore, it is so interesting to see people. In a screen, we are not able to. In real life, how can you distinguish? In screen, you can understand. It's just a scripted one, man. He is playing that role. That's about it. There's no connection. It's all, how many takes they have taken, do you know? For that one scene. That's why if you see that movie, how they take shooting, movies, if you see, you can't see the original movie after that. You see the shooting spot and then the movie. See, there's no connection. Vedanta is saying you here means the jiva is there, and then this one. In Sanskrit, we use 2 words, jiva and dehi. Jiva means individual. Dehi, for the want of word, I don't know any other word. Therefore, I am using the word personality. Right. The jiva has no name. You can't ascribe a particular name to the jiva. There is no gender for the jiva. There is no particular species also the jiva belongs to. no gender, no name, no species. For jiva, dehi will have. So whenever we use the word you, your birth and your death, you have to understand we are talking about this. You sometimes would be referring to dehi, sometimes would be referring to the jiva. Remember these 2 points. Beyond these two lies your real self, the real you. Okay, which is what is referred as Atman. Right? Atman, Jiva, Dehi. All three will be referred as you in the course of conversation. In the course of the discussion, we will be referring to all three. So most of the time, I'll try my best to define it. In this context means this. In that context means that. This context means. So like that you have to define. Like in the Gita we say, Krishna when he says me, he means different things. One place when he says me, he means Krishna, that avatar. In another context, when he says me, he refers to Vishnu. Right. In another context, he refers to the concept called Ishvara. In another context, he refers to Brahman. Me would be used in all the senses. I or me, when it is used in these different senses. Same way, you also have different roles, different senses here. Only that Ishwaratvam is not there for you. So you have only three here. What are the three forms that you means? You means only these three. 1, personality. 2, individuality. 3, reality. So personality, individuality, reality. The personality you is called as Dehi. Personality, the individuality you is called as Jiva. The real you is called Atman. The self is. Okay. So your birth and death. But discussion will be coming in different forms. Okay. You have to decipher those things. Yes. Continue.
Page 284, second paragraph. Some believe that when a person dies, nothing remains, that death is the end of the personality, and that there is no trace of him thereafter. Others disagree with this view. They do not consider death as finality. They believe in the continuity of life, and that the present incarnation is only a link in the chain of his entire life. Yet others posit the existence of imaginary realms of heaven and hell where they believe humans go to after death. These beliefs are not based on rational analysis and derivation. Instead, you must collect relevant data, study them carefully, and draw intelligent conclusions from them. Only then would you get a clearer idea of the phenomenon of birth and death.
Yeah, great. Now, he's taking a particular idea with reference to death. What happens? He says, there is a group of people who believe nothing remains, everything is over. Is it wrong? This is why the explanation of these 3 words are important. Dehi, Jiva, and Atman. Now, if you take from the angle of Dehi, right? Ishwaran, if you take, after death, what remains? Is there any traces of Ishwaran there? Can you find? Not possible, out. So to that extent, they are correct. The death is the end of personality. Correct. For a Dehi, death is the end of it, no? Isn't it? There cannot be any sort of continuity possibility. Right? Then comes another group of people who say, no, no, no. There is continuity. In that stand alone, religion begins. Nothing remains, there is no religion. Remember, all religions in the world, remember this. Religion starts beyond Dehi. Therefore, we say religion is a debate and discussion of jiva or Atman. So the entire address of religion is to the jiva, not the Dehi. When you are giving an award, the award is not given to the character. The award is given to the actor. When you do this evaluation, how is a movie review when you do, you're not discussing the character, you're discussing actually what? The actor who acted. So the award is given to the actor. But without a character, through the character only he gets that award. So Vedanta, when it speaks to you, it is speaking through the Dehi to the Jiva. But since it is spoken through, we take it is speaking to him only. There's no. It is speaking through the Dehi to the Jiva. I'm just preferring to use the same Sanskrit word. Okay, so it's easy. Through personality to individuality, I find it difficult. That's all. It is, so those who are comfortable with English can, wherever I use the word, at least in today's class. Every time I say Dehi, put it as personality. When I say Jiva, put it as individuality. But Dehi and Jiva is much easier term. It is just the one. So to that person it is. They do not consider who are they. All religion. Entire religion believes in the continuity of life. All religions. But then what is the difference, sir? There are two ways they believe in that continuity. What is it? One is cyclic manner, another one is linear. One group of people say continuity happens in linear scale. Another group said it is cyclic scale. Only scale is different. But both of them believe in what? Continuity. Take all religions. All religions of the world, ancient to modern, Western and Eastern religions you take. The only difference you will find is in this Abrahamic religions, or all the three take linear equation. But continuity is there. Right? If you come to Eastern, these major religions, like these three religions, if you take, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, if you take, all three talk about continuity, but here the continuity is in cyclic nature. Judaism, Christianity, Islam talks about continuity linear. Here they say not linear, it is cyclic. but continuity is there. That is the most interesting part here. See, this is why I asked you to stop. Now here, one group of people say, cyclic ones, they say, it is just a new cycle. That's about it. So you go, you die here, you leave this, you go. Like the actor closes one movie and takes up another character and starts playing that movie. And then that movie is over, then you play another movie. The first time when I saw, I've never heard of these things. I've heard about Shakespeare. I've heard the name of Shakespeare. That's about it. I didn't know anything else. Shakespeare is the one who has written this Romeo and Juliet. More than that, I don't know anything. So first time when I saw the movie in the academy, that's how Swamiji taught us, because he knows we can't read and all that. Reading and all that, he said, forget it. I'll show you the movie, then I'll explain, teach you. Easier way of learning that. Well, first I saw this movie, Othello. In the Shakespeare movies, the first one I saw was Othello. The first, classic I saw was, Les Miserables. That's my first movie. The second one I saw was Shakespeare's one is this Othello. I saw that movie. Then after, 1 week, next week, we were watching the next movie. Every, Friday, 3 weeks were there gap. So the 3 weeks, one movie we were watching. Next week, we watched this movie called Hamlet. I saw that. The next movie we saw was Richard III. After watching the third movie, we came back after the movie, we were having, sitting and talking. Dinner. The dinner table, they were saying, acting Lawrence Olivier. Look at that fellow. I said, this is the same actor who acted as Othello, same Hamlet, same Richard III. I refuse to believe it. I said, hey, you guys are teasing me because I don't know anything about all this. Don't say. I said, no, we have teased you for other things, but not this. This is the truth. All three. I just couldn't believe. The entire body language, the accent, and this one, that is totally different. Hamlet is that melancholic aristocracy is totally different. Richard III, that villainy is unbelievable. Same actor. This keeps going, man. Then he moves to another one. Then he moves to another one. It's the same person who has acted all three. This is what he means. He says, it's a link, man. That's about it. So another group of people, he says, imaginary realms of heaven and hell, what are they? That is the idea of linear time scale. What happens? You're born, you're here, you die. What happens after that? You go and continue to live your life, a different lifestyle, of course. You go to heaven, one particular lifestyle, you go to hell, another particular lifestyle. That's about it. It's like you shift from Bangalore to Mysore. You shifted. And the lifestyle is different. The way you live in Bangalore is different from the way you live in Mysore. And then you shift to New York, then it is a totally different lifestyle. Each place you live a different lifestyle, but you just continue. But two things are there. Two aspects. One group say nothing continues, everything is over. Another one says continuity is there, but then one says linear continuity, another one says cyclic continuity. Okay. Within this, which is correct? There are three, no? Now we have got these three aspects. Of the three, which has a solidarity to its thinking, to which he says, for that what you need to do, you need to observe, life, pick up relevant data, then apply your reasoning capacity and derive certain conclusions out of it. So there has to be observation. That's what it means. Collect relevant data, study them carefully, and draw intelligent conclusions from them. Don't jump in. Don't say, yeah, correct. Don't say this is wrong. Don't say this is. Now, have patience. Don't jump in. Now that we had this idea of three words, Atman, Jiva, Dehi, we are able to easily understand the first point. Right. The other aspects along you will not be able to easily derive. So that's what he is giving first. Yeah, continue.
There is another strange phenomenon concerning death. Though death is inevitable and everyone knows that all living beings are certain to die, none believe it in practice. Young or old, healthy or unhealthy, even the terminally ill feel that death is far away. It is a wonder that nobody practically believes in death. Even at a ripe old age, people keep amassing wealth, enlarging their worldly relations, behaving as though death would never take hold of them. Intellectually, they may concede, but from a practical point of view, they ignore their imminent end. It seems paradoxical. On the one hand, a person is so certain of his end. The very thought of death sends a quiver through his entire frame. His body turns cold at the mere mention of death, while on the other hand, it does not seem to bother him at all. He writes poetry, flourishes his art portraying death. What could be the reason for this paradox? How is it that the looming danger of death does not actually disturb his life? Everyone expects to live on and on without being concerned about the end. The reason for this innate assurance of longevity is the immortal nature of the self within. Every human is quintessentially the self. That being so, its immortal nature colors his material layers, which makes his individuality assume a sense of immortality and keeps him free from the thought of death.
There is another strange aspect of this. Another interesting phenomena he is observing now. This is the observation. He just said, no. What are you supposed to do? Observe, draw conclusions. The observation he has is this. That is the data. The data is observed and collected. What is observation? One hand, we are not willing to believe. On the other hand, we say death is inevitable. One hand, we say death is inevitable and anytime you can die. There is no expiry date being already printed and given to you. That expiry date can be today. But the way you live is what? We discuss about it. We say, yeah, correct, sir. Anytime can die. Anybody can die. Anyway, you can die. Anyone can die. Anytime you can die, we say. But then the discussion, the thought doesn't seem to seep into you and say in practically believing that I'm going to die. Why? Practically, we are not able to believe. Why there is no belief of this, that I'm going to die? And that's what he says. He says, there is something in you which doesn't die. What is that? We have seen already. The Dehi will die, the Jiva will die, but the Atman in you has no death. So there is something in you which is deathless. Atman doesn't change. Jiva changes. Dehi changes. The rate of change of Dehi is different. The rate of change of Jiva is different. But the Atman in you doesn't. Now, there are so many interesting things you have to derive out of it. What is the thing that you derive? Number one, if there is no death, means, if there is no possibility of death, means there should not be a possibility of birth also, no? We cannot say, sir, birth is possible, but death is not possible. That would amount to asuric thinking, demonic thinking. That's why you will find, all the Puranas, standard one. All Puranas, you take one, there are a few things standard in that. One asura will perform tapas, will do a tremendous tapas, he will do, and then Brahma will appear or Shiva will appear, whatever God appears. First request of him is what? The asura's request is, grant me deathlessness. To which Brahma says what? Sorry, boss, that's beyond my thing, not possible. Why? Now we think it is Brahma's incapacitation. It is not Brahma's incapacitation. The law of life is what? The way to escape death is only by escaping birth. Having taken up birth, you can't escape death. That is why if you go to this devotees, the devotees plead is never deathlessness. All the devotees plead to God only for birthlessness. Don't give me another birth, please. Don't give me another birth. Don't give me another birth. They are not asking deathlessness. Whereas all asuras ask for deathlessness. And every one of them died. It's so interesting. And so interestingly, they put conditions also. That's what happened after Hiranyakashipu is taken, and he had he has prepared himself very well. What to ask? Hiranyakashipu asked boon. No one in the world would have thought of having boon like that. He memorized his boon. Before he could start the tapas also, he knew Brahma will definitely come. He will say this. Now what I have to ask him? Don't make that same mistake, man, they said. And no one would have asked. And it is detailedly, it is being explained in Vishnu Purana. How much of details that fellow goes to asking for this. And Narada, his job is that. As soon as Brahma said Tatastu, means granted, Narada ran to Vishnu. He said, look here, this man has asked, this. Vishnu said, relax here. What's your problem? The way he has asked, how I do not want to die, he has given me a clue of how he wants to die. I don't want to die this way. Means I want to die in this way. That is the meaning of it. What is your problem? I should not be dying up, I should not be dying down, I should not be dying inside the house, I should not be dying outside the house. Means what? I wanted to die in between. I don't want to die with a weapon which is sharp. It should not be created. It should not be that way, this way, that way. If it is not possible all these ways, then this is the way I want. I got it, man. You don't worry about it, it says. But interestingly, every one of them asked for deathlessness. But the tragedy is what? What we don't digest is, what we can't reconcile is, birthlessness we can't want. We don't want. We all are aspiring only for deathlessness. Death should not happen to. Birth should happen. That's what I said. Imagine nobody dies in your house. Your great-grandfather, he's still there. Great-great-grandfather, where is a place for you to live also in the house? Forget about a room for you to sleep. You will not have place for you to sit there. That we don't want that, we say. See, birth and death is what then? You can't escape that. Changing, man, it is. But why you are not able to accept it is because inside you there is something which doesn't change. The mistake that you make is what then the blunder is, that all your lifetime you have been striving and putting in effort to arrest the changing to become changeless, to convert, to transform the changing phenomenon, changing aspect of you to be changeless aspect. There are two aspects in you. There are two yous in you. Because in you there are three yous are there. No? There is Dehi, is this and this. There are three. Like we see, there are two are there. One is the character, one is the actor. Right? What are you appreciating there? You are appreciating the character or you are appreciating the actor? Which is getting appreciated? You have to define. No, like that here. These two aspects, there is a tremendous confusion. That Dehi will disappear. Dehi will die. Dehi will change. Cannot be arrested. But we want what? All our effort is to make that Dehi changeless. Anti-aging cream. Body, if you have, as you get old, what is going to happen? Look, now imagine, 60-year-old looks like 25-year-old. Then what the 25-year-old will look like? That is a real problem, no? Isn't it? Now, 65 should look like 65. Only then 25 can look like 25 and live their life. And imagine you can't distinguish 65, 25. I said I can't share in the screen. Yesterday I saw a picture. And the question is, in this picture, there is mother and two daughters. Who is the mother? Find. Question. And you look at that, you just can't make out. This is not makeup or anything, please. You see? Not because they have done some makeup and all that. They look like that actually. Even then what happens? It will perish. This is what I said. This knowledge gives you the teaching. It teaches you to get detached. And it teaches also, in you there is a changeless factor. And don't waste your energy in attempting to arrest the changing. The changing will happen. Let the change factor be happening. Let me identify with the changeless phenomena and transform myself to become the changeless phenomena. If I want to escape death, I need to switch over. I can't be standing here and say that. That's what Christ said. Give unto God what belongs to God. Give unto the Caesar what belongs to the Caesar. They're asking him, are we to pay tax or, give money to you? They said, donation. Are we to pay tax or are we to pay donation? To which he said, given to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Money is printed by whom? Government, no. Give it to government, he said. Don't ask me that question. Right? If you ask me, I will say what? Obviously, to Christ also it is obvious, to me also it is obvious. What is obvious is the difference. Given to this, don't transform, this birth and death means change. And that changing factor has a changeless factor in you. There is a changing factor, there is a changeless factor. The mistake you have made is mistaken identity. You have assumed the changing to be changeless. That's why there is a discomfort about death. That's why you know there is death. At the same time, that reality strikes. What the real you, which is changeless, is lurking from inside. It says, hey, I'm there, man. I'm there, I'm there. Therefore, you don't practically believe in death. But for this conclusion, there is no way that you can answer that, paradox, as he says. This paradox can never be reconciled without this. We'll see more in the next class. Thank you.